Living in Eretz Yisrael. In the pasuk of Bamidbar Lamed Gimel, pasuk Nun Gimel, it says, "Vorashtem et haaretz ve'yashavtem ba, ki lachem natati et haaretz lareshet ota." Which means, go live in Eretz Yisrael because I've given it to you. Live there. So now that we've looked at the mitzvah of living in Eretz Yisrael, which said that we should go to Israel and live there, let's take a look about, are you allowed to leave Israel? So it says in Gitin, Ayin Vav Amud Bet, Amar Rav Savra said, Ki havi maftirei Rabbanan mehadadei. When rabbis would come from overseas to visit the rabbis in Israel, be'akko ayu maftirei, they would accompany them till Akko, which was the end of Israel. Mishum de'asur latzet me'eretz lechutz ha'aretz, because you're not allowed to leave Israel to go outside of it. So from this Gemara, we can very clearly see that according to Rav Savra, you're not allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael. So why wouldn't you be allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael? The Ramban, there are two reasons. The Ramban and the Rashbam. The Ramban says, "Vorashtem et haaretz ve'yashavtem ba," on the pasuk of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. Al da'ati zo mitzvat asehi. In my opinion, this is a mitzvat aseh. Yitzaveh otam sheyeshvu be'eretz ve'yarshu ota. God told us to live in Eretz Yisrael and to sit there. Ki hu natna lahem, because God gave it to us. Ve'elu ya'aleh al da'atam lalechet ve'lichbosh eretz acheret ve'lityashev sham. And if you were to say that you're going to go to a different land and conquer it and live there, yavru al mitzvat Hashem, be going against God's mitzvah. The Rashbam gives a different reason for why you're not allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael. The Rashbam says, Tanu Rabbanan, ein yotzim me'eretz lechul, shemafkia atzmo min hamitzvot. He says, you're not allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael to go outside of it because there are mitzvahs that you can only do in Israel that you are not that you're not able to do outside of it. So it's not all black and white. You're not allowed to leave, you have to stay there. Rather, in Kiddushin Lamed Aleph Amud Bet, it says, Ata Rav Asi lekameh Rabbi Yochanan. Rav Asi went to go ask something to Rabbi Yochanan. Amar lei, ma'u latzet me'eretz v'chutz ha'aretz? He asked him, are you allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael? Amar lei, asur. Rav Nachman told him, you're not allowed to. Likrat ima mahu? What if it's to visit my mother? Amar lei, ini yodea, etrach. He said, I don't know. Let me think about it. Purta hadar ata. After a while, Rav Asi came back. Amar lei, Rav Nachman said, Asi nitratzita latzet. Asi, I see you really want to go. Hamakom yachzircha b'shalom. May God bring you back in peace. So from here we see that if you have a good reason, like to visit your mother, then you are allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael. So let's take a look at Moed Katan Yudaled Amud Aleph, which has a Mishnah that says, Velu migalchin b'moed haba medinat hayam. Who's allowed to shave on Chol HaMoed? Someone who's coming from overseas on Chol HaMoed. Gemara, memedinat hayam. The Gemara on memedinat hayam. Matitin delok Rav Yehuda. The Mishnah is not like Rav Yehuda. Tanya, Rav Yehuda Omer, Rav Yehuda says, Habam medinat hayam lo yigalach mipnei sheyatza shelo birshut. If you're coming from overseas on Chol HaMoed, you shouldn't shave because you left without permission. Amar Rava, Rava tries to explain the machloket of the Mishnah and Rav Yehuda. Amar Rava, Rashut divrei hakol asur. If it's for a pleasure trip, both Rav Asi and the Mishnah agree that you are not allowed to shave when you come back. Lemezonot, if it's for food, for parnasa, divrei hakol mutar. Both the Mishnah and Rav Yehuda say that if you're coming back in Chol HaMoed, you are allowed to shave. Lo nechlatu ela le'arvicha. They only say different things if it's for profit. Mar Rav Yehuda medamei lei kilashut, umar Tanakama medamei lei kilemezonot. Rav Yehuda says it's like going for pleasure, and Tanakama says it's like going for parnasa. So here, this doesn't completely answer our question. All it says is that if you left and come back in Chol HaMoed, then you're not allowed to shave. It never says you're not allowed to leave and come back. So let's take a look at the Emorim. So the Shulchan Aruch says on the Ve'en Megachalim B'Moed, Elu Megachalim B'Moed, Haba Medinat Hayam, B'chol HaMoed, who's allowed to shave B'chol HaMoed, someone who's coming from overseas, V'hu shelo yatsa me'eretz Yisrael lechutz ha'aretz l'tayel. That is saying he's not going for a trip. So Shulchan Aruch never clearly says that you're not allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael. He again only says that if you come back on Chol HaMoed, you're not allowed to shave. So this led a lot of people to believe that, according to Shulchan Aruch, you are asur legaleach im yatsa rak l'tayel, letzet mutar. That you're not allowed to shave if you went on a pleasure trip, but if just leaving, you're allowed to. The Raavad says, Rav Yehuda ober habab medinat hayam lo yigaleach. Rav Yehuda said that if you're coming from overseas, you shouldn't shave. Mipnei sheyatsa shelo birshut, pirush she'asur letzet me'eretz Yisrael lechutz ha'aretz, because you're not allowed to leave. From this we can see that you're not allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael to go outside of it. וכיוון שלא היה מתחילה לצאת, because that you're not allowed to leave, אם בא במועד, לא נתיר לו לגלח. If he's coming in Chol HaMoed, we're not going to let him shave. So, from the Raavad, you can see, אסור לצאת מארץ ישראל אפילו באופן זמני בלי היתר, that you're not allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael permanently or temporarily without a reason. The Tosfot says on a different Gemara, which says, Kohen metamel lechutz ha'aretz lilmod Torah v'lisa isha. A Kohen is allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael in order to learn Torah or to marry a wife. Tosfot says on this, v'da'ato lachzor le'eretz Yisrael, and he's going to come back to Eretz Yisrael. De'ilu ein da'ato lachzor, amar b'ktuvot kuf yud aleph, she'asur letzet. And if he doesn't want to come back, it says in Ketuvot kuf yud aleph, he's not allowed to leave. So from this we see two things. The first, asur lekohen letzet afilu zmani bli hitel. A Kohen isn't allowed to leave even temporarily without a reason. And the other thing we can learn from this is asur lehedyot letzet letzmidut bli hitel. A normal Jew, not a Kohen, is not allowed to leave permanently without a reason. Temporarily he is allowed without a reason. So the three Amorim that I just said seem to have a three-way machloket. The first side is Ein isur letzet me'eretz Yisrael. That's from the Shulchan Aruch, the Rosh and the Tur. The second one is saying asur letzet letzbidut bli hitel u'mitar zmani bli hitel. They are not allowed to leave permanently without a reason. Temporarily you're allowed without a reason. And the third is asur letzet afilu zmani bli hitel. You're not allowed to leave even temporarily without a reason. So there's someone we haven't talked about. The Rambam. By the way, me and the Rambam share a birthday. Fun fact. So the Rambam says, Asur letzet me'eretz Yisrael lechutz ha'aretz le'olam. Now, just like all the other lines in this Var Torah, I would like to translate this, but there's a bit of a problem. See, there are two ways you can translate this. The first being, you are never allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael. The second way being completely different, which is, you're not allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael permanently. These are both completely legitimate ways that you can interpret this sentence. This isn't the entire Rambam, by the way. There's more. It says, Ela lilmod Torah, unless it's to learn Torah, or lisaisha, or to marry, or latzil min hagoyim, v'yachzor la'aretz, v'chet yotzeo l'schora, or if he's going to be saved, or if he's going to save himself from the goyim, and he's going to come back to Eretz Yisrael. And also, if he's going to come back to Eretz Yisrael, also he's allowed to leave for business. Aval lishkon bechutz ha'aretz, but to live outside of Israel, asur. Ela im ken chazak sham harav. You're not allowed to, unless there's a famine there and you can't find food. So even with this extra Rambam, you can't explain the sentence. The Shevet HaLevi, however, tries to explain the Rambam's sentence, which says, we've color-coded this so that anything yellow is talking about leaving permanently, and anything green is talking about leaving temporarily. So he says, כל הדר בחוץ לארץ דומה כמי שאין לו אלוה, וזה לא יתירו אלא אם חזק הרב בארץ ישראל. He says, anyone who leaves Eretz Yisrael is like someone who doesn't have a God. And that's only allowed if there's a famine in Eretz Yisrael. he also says, talking about temporarily leaving, אבל לצאת ולחזור, but to leave and come back, והוא שוכן בקביעות בארץ ישראל, and he lives permanently in Eretz Yisrael, התירו במקום צורך, you're allowed for a reason, אפילו לסחורה, even if it's just business. והיינו משום דשורש האיסור רק בדירת קבע, and that's because the main problem with the Isur is only living in outside of Israel. So now that we've read the Shevet HaLevi, let's try and interpret the Rambam the way Shevet HaLevi says. Rambam says, אסור לצאת מארץ ישראל לחוץ לארץ לעולם, which, as we just mentioned, the Shevet HaLevi explained, you're not allowed to leave Eretz Israel, which is, you're never allowed to leave Eretz Israel. Sorry. אלא ללמוד תורה, unless it's to learn Torah, או לישא אישה, או להציל בין הגויים. Unless it's to learn Torah, to find a wife, or to save yourself from the goyim, ויחזור לארץ, and you'll come back. וכן הוא יוצא לסחורה, and also if you're going for business. אבל לשכון בחוץ לארץ, this is talking about permanence, which says, אבל לשכון בחוץ לארץ, but to live outside of Israel, אסור, אלא אם כן חזק שם הרב, you're not allowed to, unless there's a famine. So, now, okay, so now we've explained the Rambam. The Rambam says, according to Shevet HaLevi, that you're never allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael unless you have a reason to, even if it's just to go in for business. Shevet HaLevi has his own way to explain the halacha. אבל בדעתו לחזור, and he's going to come back to Eretz Yisrael. אסור לצאת שלא לצורך כלל. You're not allowed to leave for no reason whatsoever. אבל בצורך כל דהו לא גזרו, but for any reason, it's okay. ובטיול, אף על פי סברה, לא נקרא צורך, and just a trip isn't considered a reason, a need. ומכל מקום, אם הולכים לזמן מועט מאוד לראות פלאי הטבע של יוצר בראשית, יש מקום להקל. And if you're going for a very short period of time to see the wonders God has created, there's room to say it's okay. What other reasons would you be allowed to leave Eretz Yisrael? לבקר הורים, to visit your parents, לכל mitzvah, for any mitzvah, לבקר חברים, in order to visit friends, or a lot of people say, Rav Rosner, Rav Israeli, Rav Kook, Rav Obad Yosef, and Rav Lichtenstein all say, Kol tzorich shehu, for any reason. Well, what's considered any reason? Birot pilei hateva shel yoter bereshit. Rav Lichtenstein and Rav Rosner say that if you're going to see the wonders God has created. Rav Lichtenstein also says, tzorich nafshi or tarbut. If it's for mental care, if you just need to leave Eretz Yisrael to keep your sanity. Or tarbut, if you're going for culture. And Bar'a Habazak says, Tiyul limudi, a school trip to go learn, for example, to go to Poland to learn about the Holocaust. Va'afilu chufsha mishpachtit, and even a family vacation. So let's take a step back and see, maybe there's a different way that we can look at this. Let's take a look at those two at the pasuk from the beginning. It's actually very similar to a different pasuk, which is Basukah Tishvu Shivat Yamim, the mitzvah of Sukkot. Both of them have very similar wordings and very similar halachot. Sukkah eina beit kele. A sukkah isn't a jail. HaMitzvah hi ladur basukah. The mitzvah is to live in the sukkah. Ve'ein kol tzorch limatah ba kol hazman. And there's no need to remain in the sukkah every waking moment. You're allowed to leave the sukkah to go get a cup of water or to go take a hike. בדומה לכך, נראה שיש להבין את מצוות טירה בארץ ישראל. In a similar way, we can see the mitzvah of leaving Eretz Yisrael. דירה אינה בית כלא. Living there doesn't mean it's a prison. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to leave Israel to go on a big hike, which is basically a trip. כלומר, הרשות לצאת אינו היתר. So the mitzvah, being able to leave isn't a heter, אלא חלק מההגדרה של מצוות יישוב הארץ. Rather, it's part of the definition of the mitzvah of living in Eretz Yisrael. So there's nothing wrong with leaving Eretz Yisrael to go on a trip.